Hi guys, I just wanted to do a quick video on something I figured out using the silhouette pins, but it also works with your printer, depending on the material that you want to use. I got this burlap paper from Steffi, and I also bought a whole pad of it and have a whole bunch of thicker materials and that kind of stuff. And the back of it is paper, and my idea is that I wanted to figure out how to print on the back of this and then cut a design out of it using my Nestabilities. And obviously for most people this won't go through their printer. This will go through my printer, but the burlap makes a big mess in there, so I don't recommend running this through your printer even if it fits, because it just gets all those little fibers in there and it makes a big mess. So don't do it. Learn from my mistake. Anyways, I wanted to figure out a way for people to be able to write on these if they wanted to just make tags or, something like that out of them. And of course, you have to have a silhouette to make this work. Actually, that's not true. Now that I think about it, you don't have to have a silhouette to make it work. Even if you don't have a silhouette, you can download the software for free and use the printing feature that's in it. So if you wanted to do something like this, you could still use it even if you don't have a silhouette, because the software is free. Anyways, if you have questions on that, leave me a message and I'll tell you what I mean. But what I came up with was kind of like my print and stamp idea that I had, where you scan in your stamps and then you can cut the outline for them so you don't have to do all that fussy cut. Well, this is the same basic principle, and I'll show some video. I'm not sure how the video is going to work because I'm trying to use this camera and then on the screen, so we'll see how that works. But basically what I did was I scanned in the labeled die that I wanted to use. You could use any of your Spellbinders dies. Scan it into your computer just like on the video I showed about scanning your stamps in. I dragged and dropped it into my Silhouette software, and again, I'll show you in a little while what this looks like on the screen. I dragged and dropped this into my Silhouette software, and then all that I did was added a font in the label so I can fit it to every little nook and cranny that's in this label. And then once you either print it out or using your pins, your Silhouette pins, you can cut, quote unquote, it out with the markers, pins, whatever you want to use. Once it comes out, it is exactly the size that fits into what you had on your screen. So as long as you don't change the size of your die, you could do endless possibilities. This one I did with big fonts, but you could do it clear down into these little tiny fonts, and look how much you can get it right into the little grooves. This one I used the print and cut feature of Silhouette, although we're not going to cut it, we just printed it. All I did was be sure that you fill your words when you do this. And if you need help on that, let me know. But basically all that I did was I used the same typing words that I used for the cutting part, filled in my words, and now I can just print it out and cut it with my Nestability dies. And again, you don't have to own a Silhouette to make this work. Download the software, it's absolutely free, and just print it out. You could do this with anything. It works so slick. But like I said, my theory is that I would be able to use my markers or whatever kind of pens I wanted, do some kind of decorative work or words or whatever I wanted. Let's say I'm making a tag to cover to go on a present or something. You could print it on this, and then you could cut it out with your Nestability dies. You can do this with your Big Shot dies, your Sizzix dies and stuff like that, but you're not going to actually use the die. You do a cutout of it, and then scan in the cutout. That way you'd have the exact shape of what's being cut out, and then you would just use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the other screen and show you what I did on that part. And like I said, anytime you have questions or you need something explained in more detail, please let me know, because for me, I do this with my paint program, and so I'm trying to find a way for you guys that don't have the paint programs or don't know how to use them but already have the Silhouette software. Or again, you can download it and use it for free. You don't have to buy it. So you could use this kind of printing and your dies really easy. If you know how to use Word and all that, you obviously can do this, but this just seemed to be very simple to me. So let me get it switched over here and I'll show you what I did on the screen. Thanks! Nestability dies. You saw the label one that I was using, and I put it in my scanner and I scanned it in. It automatically scans exactly to size. So if I'm pointing at the screen, you guys cannot see me pointing at the screen. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. If you click on the image, and you can do multiple images, but if you click on the image over here, it shows you that the size is just over 3 inches by just over 4.5 inches. It should be the same size as your die. This is the time to check to make sure that it's scanning into your computer the right size. Now, if you can't do that, I don't know what your scanning software does. This is what my scanning software does. I just found this in my Mac, so I'm a little behind on being able to do this. It also works, for me, it also worked to just put it in the scanner, hit scan, and it saved it to size. So you just got to make sure that you crop around it, just like we did. If you go to the print and stamp one video that I have, and that'll show you how to do it. But this is basically what you do. Scan in your Nestability die. And again, now that I know this works, I would scan in my whole set so that they're all together, okay? Anyways, you have your scan it in, save it to your computer. Then what you're going to do is you're going to drag and drop it into your Silhouette software. And again, as far as I know, I could be totally wrong on this, but before I bought my Silhouette, my first Silhouette, I played with the software for almost a month.
It's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock. Before I got the machine itself. So as far as I know, you can download it for free. So even if you don't have the Silhouette software, you should be able to do this. I don't know if the Cricut still lets you do any kind of printing and cutting from their software or whatever, so you might look into that. I know that Sure Cuts a Lot does, and I know that Make the Cut does. So if you have any of that software, this should work in any of those softwares. But I'm showing you in the Silhouette software because that's the one that I've been using the most in. So basically what I did was, we'll show you how to print and cut, because if you don't have the pins, you want to know how to do this, this is how you could do it. So what I did was I dragged and dropped the Nestability shape into the software. And as you can tell, it still looks like a Nestability. It's got the little copper color, bronze, whatever. I mean, it looks just like it. It is the die in picture form, okay? I added some text. And the biggest thing you need to remember with text is the fact that you have to fill the text. So what you need to do is make sure that your text, we're doing this one here, when you go up to your fill and you pick a color. I don't care what color you pick. You could pick purple, chartreuse, lemon lime. I don't care. Just, you have to make sure that when you are printing, that you tell it to print something, because otherwise it's not going to recognize the little red outlines. So fill it with a color. I'll pick black. You have to do that with all of the words. Now, the nice part about print and cut is you don't have to worry about turning your lines on or turning your lines off unless you're printing actually using your Silhouette machine. So hold on for that thought, okay? But right now we're just printing and cut. Be sure that you turn your registration marks on, not because you're going to cut anything, but because you need this little box here to make sure that you're not putting anything outside that, because it still won't print it if you put it outside the registration marks, okay? It'll print those little marks, or I think you can turn it off. I just printed it. I don't care. And then go up, of course, and pick your printer, and send it to your printer and print it out. And then you saw what that looked like in mine. Now, basically, all you have to do is take it over to your Big Shot, your Cuttlebug, your Vagabond, whatever it is, and run it through, and basically you just printed perfectly for inside your labels. Now, again, this got me started on this because I wanted to be able to do it on these really thick materials like burlap. You know, I wanted to be able to write on canvas, on materials, all kinds of stuff, because now that I have the Silhouette pin holder, I can use any type of markers, so I can do just about anything I want on any type of material. You know, you have to, of course, use the appropriate pin type for, you know, the material that you're doing. Sorry, trucks are going by. But you get the point, okay? Now, the biggest thing that you need to know when you do the print and cut, or excuse me, the pin cutting with your machine, is that you want to just double check what is going to be cut. Because the Nestability dies are an image not a file and you haven't traced them, they will never be cut. You could cut them by tracing them, but that's not what this is about. I mean, of course you could do that and then you don't even have to use your nestability dies, but I'm not trying to steal anything. So that, I don't recommend that. You know, it's just like the stamping. This is not about finding a rip-off way. This is about making your supplies work better for you. So it's up to you what you want to do with that. But I'm just using the image of the nestability dies because I like to use my nestability dies. And this way I can use those dies, because like if you know this burlap paper or any kind of canvas or thick cardstock that a lot of people are finding is not going through their printer well, this would be a perfect way to do this. And again, you could do this with your Big Shot dies. You could do this with any die. Just cut out a sample, scan it in, poof, you have a frame. Because all you need is the outline of the image. So basically what I would do is make sure that your cut lines are on, and as you can see, all of my words are in this funky, smeary looking red, which means they are going to be cut. In this case, I would actually send it to my Silhouette. Be sure that you choose your sketch pen, whatever marker. You need to change the thickness for whatever marker. If you're using markers, I recommend a 1 because it'll just mush them, okay? And you don't need that much ink. If you want a thin line of marker, you want to be just barely touching the tip of your marker. And then send it to your Silhouette and hit cut, okay? And then basically it'll print out on the back of, it'll print out on whatever you put in the mat. So, and then go ahead and run it through your die cut machine once it's printed, and voila, you've got it. So I hope that was clear as mud. But I thought it was a really cool idea because for me, I do this all the time with my print software. I don't really need it all this except for the fact that now I want to use it with my Silhouette pens holder and my thicker papers and that kind of stuff that I can't run through my printer. And so I'm very excited to stumble upon this. I don't know if somebody else has invented this brilliant idea, but I don't know. So I'm not saying that I originated this because I really don't care. Take it, enjoy it, all right? Let me know if you have questions. If you have comments, suggestions like this, that would be awesome because that seems to be the best way that people are finding this stuff, because I get a lot of comments saying I so-and-so like this and I had to check it out. So it's about making our stuff work better. I hope this helps somebody. Y'all have a great day and go dig those nestabilities out in your printer. Have fun. Bye.